So we move on for the third and last talk before lunch from Ennio Cartegiani. And the title of his presentation is Introduction into the Flavor World of Cascara.
So, good morning or good afternoon. Just try to understand how it works. Yes, okay. Okay, so understood. So first of all, thank you, Stefan, to invited me to this conference. I have to tell you that I'm living in Vevey, just in front of Nestlé head office. So every morning I wake up and I can see this beautiful building in front of me, and say that it will be a good day. It will inspire me to work better on the coffee world. And I just want to make some comments of what I heard this morning. I want to start with the big players involved in the Cascara developments or product developments. So I have to tell you that the product Amaya show from Australia, Nestlé stopped the production of this product because it looks like it was cloudy, and this cloudiness was not appealing enough for Australian drinkers, so they decided to stop. And I know that Lavazza, for example, that issued a novel food or traditional food application for the regulation, they have done trial during the US Open, and they will do other trials with beverages in Italy in a sport event. I think this week's. I don't know exactly in which event they will promote this product, but it will be product and flavored beverages based on Cascara. So, and of course, the flavorings, the chosen flavorings, have been peach and lemon, and for obvious reasons you can imagine. So another comment, it's about the instant specialty coffee that we can find in the market today. So in Berlin, the bars are proposing their instant specialty coffee. So in Germany, you must be familiar with. But also from Nestlé and Blue Bottle, because Nestlé used Blue Bottle to investigate a bit in the specialty coffee world. They are promoting instant coffee from specialty coffee sources. So, and the extraction need will not be 50-55% as the Nescafé one, but closer to, I think, 24 to 25%. So what we say correct yield for a good extraction in the coffee. So that said, I will start to my presentation, and yes, I've also done some points. I want to try to follow all these points, and this work, and I apologize for that, it was planned to have several phases, and the phase one I want to present now has to be gone to gas chromatography olfactometry, but the equipment was not working, so I stopped just before. So I'm really sorry to not present you the GCO results. It was in collaboration with Man. Man is a French flavor house company based in Bar-sur-Loup, just above Grasse. And they are at the top 5 on the flavor house leaders. And they have a laboratory close to my coffee academy, so it's why I use this company for this study. And they are very, very interested in the Cascara because they are working very closely with Nestlé Nespresso and with Lavazza, because we are not so far in terms of kilometers. And they are also very linked with Olam, and Olam is one of the big players in the coffee trade that is promoting the Cascara. So they have 6 or 7 estates belonging to them, and in these estates they are producing Cascara and selling Cascara. And one of these estates, so in Congo or in Zambia, they have done a lot of trials to understand how to produce good cascara. So the objective of this study is to objectively define what is a good cascara, because what is a good cascara? Is the fishy notes we can have sometimes good, or are they bad? Is the fruitiness, the acidity, which descriptors are the right definition of a good cascara? So this is really the goal, and I think we have to sit all together to define what is a good cascara. How can we define the good cascara in objective point of view? And we try to do that. We have to analyze a bit. So we have to screen in a wide range, with a wide range of cascaras, the different profiles. And what I did not perform yet is to identify the key odorants, because we have some publication defining what are the key odorants, but it's only on a few samples. So as cascara samples are becoming in the market more and more, so we need to screen more cascara to identify the volatile compounds. And if we can use a cascara flavor wheel that define all, that covers all the descriptors, could be a good, it's a good idea to help us to define the cascara. Yes, and this is to show you how the interest in cascara, coffee pulp, coffee cherry increased these last few years. So you can see that up to 2010, it was quite flat, and suddenly it increased a lot during these last decades. So due to the fact that the EU regulation went on, so a lot of things have been done. So we decided to choose 8 samples, commercial samples. So we heard this morning about the potential, so I will show you that these products are on the Swiss market and are sold in coffee shops. So it does not mean it is a success, but at least they did some commercial positioning with this product. So all these samples are well traceable and are coming from coffee pulp. It's not coffee husk. I differentiate the cascara from the washed and the natural process. And this is all from the washed process or honey process, because we think that there are more, we can find more flavor, it's more rich in terms of flavor and taste with this process, which is not always the case. I found also coffee husk from, let's say, Panama, for example, that are very rich and very appealing also. So you see, another thing we have to decide, because I see that Adriana use 30 grams per liter, here 10, so as a Switzerland, it's obvious we use 20, because we are always in the middle. So you see these tea bags at 4 grams, and we recommend 200 ml, so it means 20 grams per liter. So you see small tea bags, and then after 6 minutes you see something that is very interesting, because the color is very different based on the different cascaras. And it is important. And it is important because if you want to develop, let's say, a lemon soda cascara based, you probably need something that is more yellowish than reddish. Or if you want to use Moroccan mint, maybe a darker cascara is better than a lighter one. So the color of cascara has an impact on the finished product, and you need to deal with it. And another thing is the clarity or the cloudiness of the product, because the clarity can also influence the consumer. So clearer it is, better it is for the consumer, what we have seen with our clients. And to to really promote the cascara in a coffee shop, we had to do one thing. We had to remove all the tea. So to force the consumers to drink the cascara. So it was the trick is that I want an iced tea. We don't have iced tea, but we have something similar, which is cascara beverages, and okay, I will try. And 90% of the consumers were happy with that. So it was one trick we had to implement to force the people to drink cascara on the shops. So come back to the the analytics. So the methodologies are the following. So we set a sensory analysis using the MAN resources, and then the lab analysis using also the MAN flavor lab analysis, and then the rest is not yet performed. So sensory analysis, this is okay. So number of panelists was 14, samples 8. So it was not expert in cascara because I don't think we have any enough cascara experts, but it was from an expert coffee panel, and the terminologies were similar, let's say. And to define the descriptors, we used the free descriptors, then consolidated by the team of experts within MAN. And then we use some statistical analysis to show the results. So, okay, this is to show you what kind of technique we can use to really profile and to analyze the cascaras. So we use the GC SPIMI method to the flavor profile, and we had to add this GCO coupled with the MS to really find the key odorants. And I hope to do that before the end of the year, but it depends really on the repair of the machine. So the SPIMI sampling procedure is a classic one. So we try to concentrate a bit using one tea bag infused in 100 milliliters, not 200, and 95 degrees water for 5 minutes. Then we place in a 2 ml vial, and then we set 1 hour in an oven at 90 degrees, and then we did the analysis. We used the classic GC, so I don't want to be boring with all the analytical instruments, but it was a classic GC for flavor analysis with a classic polar column and helium as a carrier gas. So if we look at the sensory results now, the chosen descriptor are the following. So it's animalic, floral, fruity, citrus. So yes, the citrus family. So the red fruit, dry fruit, smoky, woody, earthy, dried grass, green, browning, vanilla. This is for the flavor part, and then for the taste, it is acidic, sweet, and astringent. So they were selected based on a publication, 2021 publication from I think Singapore group from MAN. And then we can represent all these cascara on different ways. So the worst one being this one, because you cannot see anything. So, okay, it's like a schizophrenic graph. So maybe it's better to use a PCA, which is a classic way to represent. And you can see different families and groups of cascara and correlated with the descriptors. The important thing here is to see what F1 and F2 represent in terms of variability. So here it's 61%. We can consider as relatively good. Then another thing is clustering, and you can see that you have two big families and two subgroups from each family. And this is the chromatographic data. This is not from cascara. This is just to introduce the data. I don't want to bore you with the chromatographic profile. This is from coffee, not from cascara. And we had a list of compounds that were identified by the MS, and from each ones we can find the relative flavor associated with the molecule. So for the furfural, for example, we can define as almond, bread, nutty, sweet caramel-like, plum, etc., etc. And okay, we can go. So we have some data. So we have generated a lot of data, and then we can do also here a PCA. But I will not stay with this slide very long because I'm not a fan of PCA in the chromatographic data for these reasons. So it's a subjective choice of the molecules, and if you don't choose the right molecules or you choose some molecules, you will have different PCAs. So for me, it's not the best way to do the relation between the chromatographic data and the sensory. It's really, you need GCO and odor activity value to identify the key odorants. So this can help a bit for quality control, but I'm really not a fan of the PCA on chromatographic profile. So unfortunately, I can only conclude with this phase 1. So we have generated some data. We are able to discriminate in a sensory point of view the cascaras, and we have still the chromatographic data are not robust enough to correlate with sensory, so we need further analysis. No correlation can be done at this stage on post-harvest processes, so we need more data and to correlate it better with the post-harvest process. And no defects were really identified except the slightly earthy tonalities. So, by chance, because there are products that are commercially available, so we hope we have not so many defects in these products. So, sorry, but I was not able to identify some, let's say, some really moldy character. So then the phase 2 is an investigation of the key odorants using the GCO and the odor activity value. We need more cascara to be analyzed in a sensory point of view and in an analytical point of view. And we need some standardization of the cupping protocol, because everybody is doing their own protocol, and it would be great to have a standardized cupping protocol for cascara. And to develop a flavor wheel that help us to find the right descriptors. So these are the 18 key odorants that were published in this MAN publication in 2021. And you see it's very similar to the one presented by Adriana. So it looks like we have done the same type of work, and we have the same conclusions, more or less. But I think when I look in detail to some one of these molecules, so guaiacol, ethyl phenol 4-vinyl guaiacol, I didn't expect these compounds to be really present in a cascara. So I was more. I would have preferred maltol or such compounds, but okay. So it's why we need more analysis and more studies to have an exhaustive list of key odorants. And I want to finish presenting you a few flavor wheels we can find, not in the market, but on internet maybe. So the MAN flavor wheel was presented at ASIC conference, and you see, is there a pointer? There is an oceanic category here. It's a nice name to describe fishy, oyster, iodine. But okay, oceanic, yeah, it's it looks positive, but at the end, I'm not sure it is so positive, but maybe it depends. But I tell you, I presented some cascara to Roberte. It's also a flavor house in Grasse. And when they kept a cascara with this strong fishy and oyster flavor, they were very impressed, and they liked the product because they had in mind perfumery and not food. And sometimes we forgot that there is not only food. The perfumery industry is also interested in such a product. And for them, it was very difficult to find fishy fragrance not coming from fish. Let's say some types of non-animal flavor. So there is also for this kind of products an interest from the industry. So this is another flavor wheel developed by Eco Cascara, which is the one who promote ice cascara and these tea bags. You see here there is also the oceanic here also. Salty, chemical, fish sauce, soy sauce, oyster, gasoline, okay. And I think it was in August I went to a coffee consulate with Stefan, and we kept some cascaras, and we used his form to describe the cascara, which is a form that was developed for the coffee, but we found that it was also nice to describe the cascaras. And the advantage of this form is that you can put a score, and then you have automatically a radar and a graph based on your evaluation. So, I mean, just proposition of flavor wheels and descriptors, and I think we have to agree in some way which one to use, or we can use all of them. It's not a problem, but if we can agree a bit first with a standard protocol for cupping, it will be nice, and then maybe choose a flavor wheel and develop a new flavor wheel based on the new studies. So these are the references, and yes, I mean, I put you on the second, Adriana, I'm sorry, because the man one is the first one. Then there are a few, but not so many, publications on the flavor of cascara. There are just a few ones, and not as the flavor, the coffee flavor. You can find dozens or hundreds and tons of publications. Okay, I want to thank SMAN and Cascara Societies for providing me analytical tools and the products, and to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cartagiani. Before we move to the questions, I just would like to make three observations. One is that we also found the fishing note, the fishing attribute for flower, so you can tell the perfumery people. And the other is that I think we should also develop a wheel for flower and for leaves, yes. And this is a very difficult thing to do because of the post-harvest methods. So we're gonna have to consider the fermentation and non-fermentation. And this is also valid for the amount of cascara that we use for the teas or kombucha, because if it's fermented or very fermented, then we have to use much less cascara, and when it's not fermented, we can use more because it's less intense, the flavor, so always considering that. So thank you very much, and now for the questions, Dr. Montagnon.
You can speak in French.
Oui, alors je vais te poser une question. Sorry. First of all, thank you for the presentation and you. And one quick question about the different origins that you have studied, we can see that there is a grouping between origins, geography. But I wanted to ask you if you had some ideas about the variety of coffee that was in those samples.
So only for the Guatemala, we were sure it was a geisha variety. For all the other, it's a mix of variety they use. So in Pedra Azul, for example, they have a lot of Catuai, I think Red Bourbon, Mundo Novo, and the owner of the farm, the Camosim farm, has not divided the Cascara into varieties. He did it once when I was there, and we did not see so big differences within the varieties, which was strange for me. But so then also I think in an economical point of view, I think it was easier for him to put everything together.
Yes, those varieties are so close together genetically that what would be interesting, for example, is from Congo, which would be genetically very different from the other countries. But it's another subject.
But Congo was very, very different. But I suppose the post-harvest process make a lot of difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Whenever you want to study with genetics and varieties.
Thank you. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, that was also my question. So it's just adding to it, because our observation in looking into Cascara, and those of you interested being with us tonight also in the corporate night, we have some single variety Cascaras. We have a yellow Catucai, red Catuai, and also red geisha. So just because I just felt I should be prepared for you guys coming tonight here with your special requests. We will also have some cold refreshment beverages out of coffee leaves, so I just do the standard as you expected at a corporate night. Okay, no, but what I observed with the colors, and the question, do you think it might also be connected with the processing? Because we found that mainly the color difference was the drying. So the more the cherry was basically injured, especially like when you used like a centrifuge or something, it came out to make a much darker liquor. That's what we found out doing about 60 different samples of red Catuais. Depending on how we dried them, the color was more intense, kind of when we more injured the cells. I don't know if that's clear what I'm trying to say.
Fermentation too. We saw that the fermented ones were darker. Yeah.
So I was 1 week in Zambia by the Olam Kateshi estate, doing all trials on Cascara with the centrifuge, with the mechanical dryer, or with the sun drying, the classic sun drying process. And we noticed that the drying phase is the key to generate flavors and to generate the color.
Yes.
So we tried the mechanical dryer, so we dried Cascara within, let's say, a couple of hours, and then it was just a sweet beverage, a sugared beverage without any flavor. Cloudy, sweet beverage without any Cascara flavor. So we think that long drying is something that has to be studied and generate a lot of flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry? First.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for the very interesting and nice presentation. But talking about the drying once again and linking with the previous question that you did to Amaya about the behavior of the solution when you put it in the Sprite drying, probably this linked, this difference of color that you have very close to the drying process, how they are doing the drying process. I mean, there are many factors there, but I agree with you that probably the drying process has too much to say with the flavor and with how you have to proceed later just to obtain the powder and to do everything with whatever you are going to do with the cascara.
Drying influences a lot the color, the flavors, and the clarity.
The safety also.
Okay. And the clarity of the solution, because you start with a cloudy cloudy, colorless solution,
Yeah.
and you went to a clear red solution,
Yeah.
flavored. I mean,
Yes, and as Amaya said before, for us, the main color is coming from the melanoidins that you are, you can see that it is coming from the anthocyanins, for instance, and it seems that it is not in this case. It seems that it's because the melanoidin and has to do a lot with the drying condition that you are using.
Yep.
I mean, you have an influence on the species, variety, if it is a wet or if it is a dry process and so on. But of course, the drying that is common to in all cases, you have to dry. Doesn't matter if it is wet or if it is a dry method what you are running to obtain the green bean. But the drying is a problem. If it is mechanical or if it is the sun, and how long you have there. And I think that has an impact in the infusion. And if you want just to make a powder from there, of course, has an influence of score too. I think that we need to just to speak together all and to put a common procedure to do everything. It's going to be easier just to go to the farmers and just to convince them that they have a valuable product just to be commercial. Happened in, I don't know how years ago for the green beans, no?
Yes.
That they're like a common stuff.
Yeah. I just want to make a comment on the big players on this industry and the cascara. So what I've seen up today is that Ecom and Olam are the two main players that believe in cascara. So Neumann are really not so much involved in this business. Ukafina, I didn't hear anything about their interest in that business. And they are using their estates to make some trials, and especially Olam is really pushing for the science and to have instant cascara as well. And why are they working with man is because with the flavor house they can add at the end of the concentration process the top notes that were lost during the concentration. It's why the flavor house are also interested in making some cascara flavorings. Is really to add on top of the concentrates of the instant powder what has been evaporated during the process.
Any more questions? Over there.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I'm interested about the information you have about the pre-processing process of the cascara. You showed that the aroma differs from different origins, but in the aroma profiles, I also saw a lot of things coming from the work of bacteria and yeast and so on. So what's your estimation? How much is it related to the type of coffee, and how much is the aroma profile connected to the type of pre-treatment of the cascara?
I think we have not tackled this point. We don't know. As you said, I still think that a major part is coming from external bacteria and fermentation of yeast and wild bacteria from the environment. The typicity, so in the 8 cascara we have tested, in a hedonic way, the best one I prefer, so it's really a personal opinion, the geisha from Guatemala it is not obvious, but it is a great one. So the flavors, so something about the variety and the coffee should be there as well. But I cannot say 80% is coming from the wild yeast and bacteria, but major part I can assume it is done by the external microorganism.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm receiving the sign that we have to close for lunch, and I would like first to thank our speaker.